A new Politico poll finds that the GOP, specifically GOP voters, have been more likely to hear about nonsense like Dr. Seuss and Mr. Potato Head instead of important substantive political issues like the coronavirus relief package that just passed in Congress and was signed by President Joe Biden. Now, I want to give you the numbers in this poll. It was done by Politico and Morning Consult, and they found that nearly half, 48% of GOP voters said they'd heard a lot about Dr. Seuss decision, or the Dr. Seuss decision, according to this survey, and it's more than the share of Republicans who had heard about any other news event tested in the poll, including the House's successful package of the $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package. Only 44% said that they had heard a lot about that from the media. And clearly, since they're on the right, they're far more likely to watch or listen to right-wing news content. And they love to be knee-deep in the culture war because that helps them deflect from the fact that they don't have any actual solutions or policy proposals that would improve people's lives. So let's all get upset about Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss instead.
Yeah, so there's two things here. One is a comment you just made. I think you made it on an earlier show too about, well, if you don't have a single policy that would help the American people, what do you want to do? You want to distract them. So we've talked about that a lot on the show. It's the squirrel phenomenon. We want to keep your wages ridiculously low, and we want to make sure you don't have healthcare in the middle of a pandemic. In this case, not squirrel, but Seuss, Dr. Seuss, distraction here and there. Anna, that was such a good point. I think I stole it from you and put it on a tweet, and it did really well. So thank you.
You're welcome.
But the second half of this is honestly, they're not wrong in terms of politics, not in terms of policy. Okay, so people focus on the things that the media is talking about. So when the right-wing media all talk about the same thing, it gets into people's heads. I mean, more people know about this than the fact that we're supposed to get vaccinated. The Biden administration is guaranteeing vaccination by May. Like a third of people know that versus the Dr. Seuss controversy among Republican circles, right? Democrats don't understand the value of branding. So when they have a good issue like the minimum wage, it is very, very popular. You should focus on it and talk about it over and over and over again. Democrats never do that. Republicans are excellent at this. Now, does the substance of this make any sense? Of course not. It's not the government. It's not the Democrats. It's not the libs that pulled the book. It was the Seuss family. It's his estate that pulled 6 of his books. By the way, he's written 60 books. They did not pull any of the popular books. By the way, one of the reasons they pulled the books, those 6, is because they weren't selling. That's called capitalism. And so ironically, Tucker Carlson and Trump and Kevin McCarthy are making an argument that they shouldn't have property rights. They should not be able to make decisions on which books they own they can sell or not sell. That's an insane position that is not anywhere near conservative. They're just doing it to get you angry. And of course, as usual, they're lying about all of the specifics.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand like the political moment we're in by actually listening to experts and not political pundits. So I want to go to the second video real quick in this story because this is a political scientist, Peter Mayer, who has a theory that I think is spot on. Take a look.
Government is about one thing, driven by forces largely beyond the control of parties, and elections are something else. That begs then other questions, which is that if elections are not about these issues, these core issues of government, what then are they about? And what then will they be about? Paraphrase Raymond Carver, what do we talk about when we talk about politics? We talk perhaps about something anodyne, like leadership and trust and so on and so forth, which is general and non-party specific. Or we talk about something maverick and particularistic, like local level politics, personalities, identities, and so on and so forth. Or, as Krastev also warned, we talk about something dangerous, and the parties talk about something dangerous. We talk about a populist politics which doesn't address key socio-economic policy areas, but instead talks of things like religion or ethnicity or values or whatever it might be, which are removed from the socioeconomic concerns of government.
In the early aughts. And unfortunately, he was ahead of his time and then he passed away. But I think that he's spot on. He wrote a book called Governing the Void. And as politics becomes less and less about changing systemic issues that negatively impact American socioeconomic status and quality of life, you'll see political parties focus more and more on nonsense, like whether it's cults of personality and hero worship, or in this case, the culture wars, which we always get served by the Republican Party.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.